Shocking and unprecedented, Jimmy Kimmel's late-night TV show has been abruptly pulled off the air by ABC, sparking a firestorm of debate about free speech, power, and the boundaries of humor in American media. What began as a controversial comment about the death of conservative pundit Charlie Kirk quickly erupted into a nationwide controversy, raising tough questions about who gets to control the cultural conversation. But here's where it gets even more heated. Many believe this wasn't just about one comedian's words, but an attempt to silence dissenting voices altogether. The chain of events started when Jimmy Kimmel, whose eponymous show has entertained audiences for more than 2 decades, made pointed remarks about the political aftermath of Charlie Kirk's murder. Kimmel accused supporters of former President Donald Trump, whom he referred to as a MAGA gang, of trying to exploit Kirk's death for political gain. This accusation immediately inflamed conservative commentators, who slammed Kimmel for being massively out of touch with public sentiment. Donald Trump himself, while visiting London on state business, celebrated ABC's decision to suspend the show, calling it great news for America. He mocked Kimmel's ratings-challenged program, comparing it unfavorably to Stephen Colbert's and declaring, "Kimmel has zero talent." Behind the scenes, the situation was even thornier. Nexstar Media, a giant in local television, announced it would stop airing Jimmy Kimmel Live on its network of ABC-affiliated stations. Citing strong objections to Kimmel's recent commentary on Charlie Kirk's killing, Nexstar committed to replacing his show with alternative programming. The timing raised eyebrows. Even as Nexstar was making this public stand, it was also preparing to file a major merger application that would require the blessing of federal regulators. But this is the part most people miss. The entire episode unfolded as the White House signaled intentions to clamp down on left-leaning groups after Kirk's assassination, a move some say is less about justice and more about targeting political opponents. Throughout, Trump has not hesitated to threaten, sue, or excoriate media outlets whose coverage he deems hostile. The anxiety rippling through the country about increasing political violence only amplifies the sense of crisis. Trump has pinned blame decisively on the radical left, while his critics argue he's using the tragedy as pretext to silence rivals. The big question, is this the legitimate policing of hateful rhetoric, or a dangerous step toward government censorship? Kimmel's response after the incident remained as pointed as ever. He accused the MAGA gang of desperately spinning the tragedy, refusing to accept the killer could be ideologically close to them. He then ridiculed Trump's apparently callous reaction, a bizarre focus on White House renovations rather than genuine grief over the loss of a friend. As Kimmel joked, this is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish. Soon after, the Federal Communications Commission joined the fray. FCC Chair Brendan Carr labeled Kimmel's comments truly sick and publicly pressured Disney and ABC to take action, warning that their broadcasting licenses depend on serving the public interest. As Carr said on a conservative podcast, "We can do this the easy way or the hard way. Is this government oversight gone too far, or is it media running amok?" The cancellation didn't go unopposed. Prominent voices quickly came to Kimmel's defense. Actor Ben Stiller condemned the move, calling it unfair. Famed author Joyce Carol Oates bemoaned the situation, arguing that poor taste in comedy should be met with audience disapproval, not censorship. California's Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom went further, denouncing it as evidence of a dangerous, coordinated attack on free speech. According to Newsom, recent efforts to buy media outlets, dismiss commentators, and scrap shows aren't mere coincidences. They're part of a broader political strategy. Let's not ignore the controversy. Are these cancellations legitimate consequences for inappropriate speech, or chilling evidence of political censorship? Colbert's own Late Show was axed after he made inflammatory comments about Paramount's multi-million-dollar settlement with Trump, which he crudely described as a big fat bribe. These moves, paired with Trump's flurry of lawsuits, against outlets like the New York Times and Penguin Random House for defamation, or the Wall Street Journal for reporting on embarrassing connections, paint a picture of an entertainment and media landscape in turmoil. Amidst this chaos, even comedians can't escape the fallout. Roseanne Barr, herself fired after a controversial tweet, sarcastically noted the irony of Kimmel's plight, pointing out that he had once ridiculed her during her own cancellation. Imagine an administration putting pressure on a television channel to fire a comedian they didn't like, she wrote. Her delight in Kimmel's predicament was unmistakable. The repercussions have not stopped at celebrity level. Kirk's murder set off a wave of heated responses on social media, with some on the left criticized for expressing anything that might be seen as gloating. Right-leaning figures swiftly began exposing and condemning such public statements, and the result has been a string of firings across the country. Even university professors, federal agents, and NFL employees have been dismissed for comments deemed insensitive or for drawing attention to Kirk's own pro-gun beliefs. Are these necessary guardrails or a dangerous slide toward thought policing? The culling of late-night hosts has only intensified the sense of unease. CBS's announcement that Colbert's show would end was met with loud accusations of retaliation for his sharp criticism of Trump. Colbert himself recently won an Emmy, but his legal battle with the former president and his network's settlement with Trump, amid scrutiny from the FCC, underscores how quickly things can change. Trump's animosity isn't exclusive to Kimmel or Colbert. He's openly derided other late-night hosts, like Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers, calling for their cancellation as well. In giving its official stance, an ABC spokesperson announced, Jimmy Kimmel Live will be preempted indefinitely. So what's your take? Is the indefinite suspension of Jimmy Kimmel Live a justified response to offensive commentary, or a frightening example of MAGA-driven censorship? Where should we, as a society, draw the line between holding people accountable and protecting free speech? Chime in with your thoughts. Whether you're cheering the decision or sounding the alarm about censorship, your view matters in this vital conversation.